Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dreamers and Doers Women Living Their Dreams. I'm Karoline Stevens from Journey to Empowerment. I'm a certified life mastery consultant. And this was one of my dreams to introduce you to amazing women from all over the world that are living their dreams, loving their lives, and in the process, touching so many lives. And so today I'm so thrilled for you to meet an incredible lady. She's such a bright light and she's empowering so many people and children with her work. And so let's welcome Sumya Anani with today's topic. Yes, you can. Hi, Sumya. I'm so
Yeah,
happy
well,
that you're
thank you, Carolina. Thanks for having me. What a fun. I want your job. This sounds like just such a fun job in meeting people and talking about their dreams and goals.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's so
Wow.
inspiring. And so I'm so grateful that you're here to share your wisdom and so first of all, I would like to introduce you to our audience and then I hand the mic over to you. So Sumia transforms her love of physical fitness into a mission of caring and kindness. And she owns and operates Learning to Fly, which is an aerial fitness party and field trip center in Kansas City. She teaches yoga, Pilates, aerial circs, aerial yoga, and gyrotonic. And the only sentence in her studio that students can use the word can't is there's nothing I can't do. I love that. And so Sumia literally pounded her way onto the international stage by winning 4 world boxing championships. She defeated Christy Martin, the only female fighter to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And in 2016, she was inducted into the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame. So, first of all, Sumia, I want to congratulate you on all these extraordinary achievements. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a whole team of teachers and people that have helped me get where I'm at. So, and helped me accomplish those things, which we'll talk about. I'm excited to talk about my trainers.
Yeah, I look forward to that too. And so, first of all, though, you look like the embodiment of love and kindness. And I even read that they said that they called you the most avoided female boxer in the world. And so, I can't even imagine you hurting a fly, let alone punch somebody's lights out. So, I'd love to hear your story of how you found boxing or how boxing found you.
Yeah. I never imagined myself boxing either. I do. I never watched a boxing match growing up. I did love Rocky, the movie. But when I met my trainer, my boxing trainer, I was about 22 years old. I had never competed in sports. I was too shy and too insecure in high school to join even though I wanted to compete in some sports, but I didn't think that I was cool. I thought only the cool kids did the sports, and I wasn't part of that cool crowd. And I met him, and he just kept. The first thing he said to me when I met him was, "You look like you just stepped off the boat from Jamaica." And then he said, "You should box." And I was like, and he just kept for years. I met him at this gym. He kept telling me I should, every time I saw him, you should box, you should box. Tommy Morrison was really big in Kansas City at that time. And he had a gym downstairs in this basement that he trained at. And Barry took me down there. And, it just was kind of like over my head. I was a massage therapist. I was teaching yoga, that healing part of the world was my world. Not boxing seemed not healing at all. And so, yeah, it just started like that. And then what happened was really kind of cool. When I was living in Jamaica, he came down there with the Sports Illustrated magazine with Christy Martin on the cover. And again, he'd been telling me you should do this. He throws this magazine in my face and he goes, "You can do this. You can beat her. I know you can beat her." And then it was like I came home from Jamaica a few weeks later. This time he came to my house and he said, "You have a fight. It's in 3 weeks." And that's how it started. And then 2 years later, I beat Christy, which is just kind of so weird to think about him, the magazine, the whole. He just has a good eye for talent, I guess. I didn't see the talent in myself, and I think that's one of the big things that I recognize in my life now is that sometimes it takes somebody else to see something magical about you and to see something special, you know. So we have to listen to those whispers of the universe when
Mm.
other people speak, you know, that's angels or guides are leading us.
Yeah, I totally believe that. And, the fact that he showed you the magazine and told you you're going to beat her, I mean, that's the universe is kind of going, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. And so, did you then fall in love with boxing? Did it become a passion?
It was, you know, I was very dedicated to it. I loved the training aspect. I loved learning how to defend myself. I think every woman should learn how to defend herself. Um, I loved every part of it. It was, you know, it was just such a magical time in my life.
And the actual being in the ring and the physical, because it's so different to being a massage therapist and doing yoga and being in the healing arts. So how so much have brought are two very different parts inside of you.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I was always focused on defending myself. I was scared to death every time I got into the ring. I was so scared. And I think I learned from that experience that fear, for some people, it can debilitate them from doing something. You know, people have fears and they just stop, even with the going for their dreams. You know, but I learned how to channel my fear and use it in a very productive way. And I think that that continues to serve me. I think fear is a really good, it's a positive emotion. We think, oh, these are negative emotions and these are positive emotions, but fear can be a very positive emotion if you learn to direct that pranic energy towards something really power and just listen to it. So I think that's what I learned to do in boxing.
Wow, that's very powerful because, as you said, fear often stops us in our tracks. But really, fear often is just a sign that we're out of the comfort zone, that we are growing, that we are stepping into the next level of our beingness. And so, yeah, and I'd be keen to hear how you channel the fear into to serve you. What kind of tool or skill did you use?
Yeah, what yoga and meditation were crucial. I'm so grateful I found yoga before I found boxing, because that training, you know, the training of the mind and the body and the spirit was such an important integral part of um, helping me be really intuitive in the ring,
Mhm.
helping me be more present in the ring, not, you know, your mind can be anywhere. And if, you know, it's getting in that zone, what they say in athletics, you know, getting in the zone. I mean, there really is. I felt like sometimes in the boxing ring, I was the most present, the most than sitting on my yoga cushion, my meditation cushion, you know, is because when you have somebody there that, you know, there's a potential for danger, you're very like alert and heightened senses. And I think it really, it helped me, it trained me to be present when I am sitting on the meditation cushion or I am having a conversation with somebody, or that presence is so powerful.
Wow, that's really interesting that it went the other way around, that boxing helped you to be more present in your meditations. That's really, really awesome. And so, what my I'm ignorant with regards to boxing. So, does sometimes like anger come out when you're in the ring? Like, do you feel like you want to you will hurt somebody, or how does it work?
You know, I never felt that. I never experienced that kind of anger. I felt I channeled strength. I channeled, you know, power. I do think that when I was training, all my workouts, hitting the bag, you know, going to the weight room. I look back now and I think that I was working somatically to release anger from my body. You know how you hold emotions in as a child, or things happen to you and you don't use your voice and you hold things in, and so this, you know, if stuff isn't expressed, it's repressed. And so I felt that all my training that I did physically, it helped me move that energy out, you know, in a really positive way.
Yeah, that's so powerful without actually directing it against somebody. you release the power and the energy and freed yourself up from yeah, all the repressed emotions and
Yeah.
memories and that sort of thing. That is so powerful.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I feel like I've seen several fighters. I had several fights where we had the room. There was the whole red people in the red team, and we're in the same dressing room. And I saw how other fighters warmed up and did things, and you know, some people were, hitting their heads with their gloves and like, doing all this, like trying to like psych themselves up with anger, like with that anger, like trying to find something to be mad about. And I just felt like that was not productive energy, because we're talking about energy, channeling pranic energy. And I feel like if I was in that space of being anger or trying to get mad at this girl that was going to be hitting me, then I am oozing away my power.
Mm.
I'm leaking energy instead of conserving my energy, which I will need when I face her.
Wow, that's a really, really powerful point. Yeah, because we lose them when we are angry, we're triggered. We're not in our power, we're not in our center, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. And so, were you ever scared to hurt somebody, like really hurt somebody, hurt the other woman?
I was always afraid of getting hurt. I was always afraid of, I didn't, even in some respect, I still never thought that I had power, to hurt somebody. I mean, I knew that it was always for me, it was always self defense. It was always just, I'm protecting myself. This is, a power that when you watch the news at night, we all see the reason women need to learn to defend themselves. We see it all the time, and then you see this Me Too movement and you see all these things. I mean, so for me, it really was just about self defense. That was the challenge for me. I told my trainer when I first started, I'm just doing this one fight at a time. I had no intention of taking it 10 years. I was a pro fighter for 10 years. It was for me, it was just one fight at a time. I'm just doing it one fight. And I loved the challenge, the learning. I loved being a student. I love learning. My studio is learning to fly. I love being a student of whoever. And when I find somebody who's smarter than me, has something to teach me, uh, I ask questions. I listen. I can take orders, so
So you're really coachable by the sounds of it.
I'm coachable. I love that. I'm very coachable in many ways. I mean, my conditioning coach, he was my strength trainer, Stevie Yavorik, Istvan Yavorik. He was amazing, and he's been my mentor for 30 years. And his programs, I got to work with him daily in the weight room. He was amazing. I worked daily with my boxing trainer. I'm very coachable, and one of the best compliments I ever got was that I take constructive criticism really well, and I
Mm.
do. I know that if somebody loves me, I know that they're saying it out of love, and I think that has helped me even being in a relationship, because sometimes even in relationships, somebody says something constructive, we take it, oh, what do you mean by that? We get really upset, but it's like those points when other people see us and can see us sometimes more than we can see ourselves, help us be a better person, be a better partner, be a better boxer, be a better everything. I think that's one of the gifts of being an athlete for me, was just learning to really take constructive criticism in every aspect of my life.
Mm. Yeah, this is so powerful. And that's for the same reason I've always engaged with coaches. And because I love, like you, I love to learn and improve and just grow in awareness. And yeah, I think that's a really valuable skill, because it's so easy to be triggered and the other person's triggered and then we bounce off each other. It's like the hurt little kid in one is, having the relationship with the hurt little kid in the other one, and you don't get anywhere like that. So yeah, it sounds like you got good ego training, to to
Yeah. Well, and that's yoga. I mean, yoga is all about, the ahamkara is the word in yoga. It really is about witnessing ourselves and observing ourselves. Yoga is this practice of being the witness of myself, my witness of my thoughts, my words, my actions, my proclivities, my tendencies, my habits. Where can I tweak? How can I be better? And for many of us, we live our life with like the horses that have those blinders on, and we don't want to look past our little field of narrow vision. And I think for yoga has been so profound in meditation because it expands the horizon of my awareness, and to be able to really see that, we are here. I mean, sports and yoga are the same in this respect of exploring your potential. You're here to, in the sport world, it's just in that physical presence, but in yoga it's physical, asana, and it's making your body a good vehicle for the soul and for the spirit and for the heart. But then it's exploring the potential of the heart. Can you forgive somebody that you've been holding a grudge against from 20 years ago? Can you, be a better listener? Can you, that is the practice that I'm invested in my life. And that's why, like I was saying, I'm so glad I found yoga first, because it made me see that it's everything we do, all of us are here to just explore our potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love this, and that's the same with the work I do. It's about,
Coaching.
letting go of the layers of conditioning and wrong self-perceptions that we've adopted over time, the mask and the protection, to be able to just be free, to be vulnerable, to be open and authentic, and live like that. And I could see that that's what you're doing, which is and teaching your students.
Yes, yes, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love also that you always acknowledge your trainers, your posts, you're acknowledging your trainers, like we're standing on the shoulders of those who, really believed in us and saw the spark in us and nurtured it. And
That is so the essence of my story. When I say yes, you can, that's kind of been my motto at Learning to Fly. Yes, you can, and yes, I can, because I've been standing on the shoulders of my teachers. I love that. Standing on the shoulders of people that I don't even know. I mean, going back to us discovering, and excuse me, because my camera's up here, so I feel like to make eye contact, I have to look down there, but when I'm looking at you, I have to go there. So that's why I'm going back and forth. But for me to explore my full potential, I need the people in my life that have helped me. We are not, nobody in this world is independent. We are all interdependent, and we need other people to help us explore fully and live our lives fully. I wouldn't be who I am and where I am without my boxing trainer, without my weights coach, without my business advisor, I mean, there's so many hands when I that have hands and hearts that have contributed to who I am. One of the things I said when I was getting inducted into Hall of Fame, the thing I said was that Maya Angelou quote, where she said, oh my gosh, I'm going to totally blank on it for a second because I'm nervous. But that each one of us is there's just we need each other. And I think through this last year of COVID, I think we're all collectively coming to that lesson, like we need each other. We need people. We are social creatures, and that we are here to help others lift others, and also be lifted by others.
mm, yeah, I love that. It's kind of like it takes a village to for us to really bloom and come into our full potential.
Yeah, yeah, the bloom. I love that bloom. It's like you put the seed in the ground, and it's got to have the right dirt and the right amount of minerals in the dirt, and then it's got to have the water, and it's got to have the sun, and it's got to, it's a whole, we're part of that nature, and so there's all these things that are feeding us, that are feeding my seeds, my dreams. I love that.
And at the same time, we having challenging people in our lives. We have challenges in there equally. That same purpose is for life to grow us, to
Oh,
go deep, to transcend the hurt, and to grow larger hearts, to love more, bigger, and have more compassion and understanding. So my question is, how did you, or do you deal with challenges when they come along?
the challenges when come along, I look at as opportunities.
Mm.
And this is another thing that I love about boxing. Boxing taught me to face conflict. I got in the ring and I stood face to face with my conflict. And so in my life, I've seen how I can face difficult conversations with people. I and I'm it's interesting time to see, like, on Facebook and social media, you see sometimes all these kind of conflicts and people unfriending and because you don't agree here. And it's interesting for me to watch that because I feel like, when there's conflict, that is the opportunity for growth and deeper intimacy. When you look at any husband and wife that's been married for any length of you, yeah, do they ever fight? Do they ever disagree? Yeah, and they probably still have a lot of disagreements, but they stand and they talk and they work it out. This is what life is made of. But so many people, I think, want to shove those things under the carpet. Let's not look at them, let's put them over here. And they think that, but that's where the jewels are, is to go through those conflicts. And that's where the opportunities for, like, deeper intimacy and deeper love and deeper self-knowledge. I mean, so boxing, I think, was another great, the symbolism of facing your conflict.
That's so powerful, yeah, because for that very reason, that often we are trained to, or we are conditioned to avoid it, not rock the boat. We please people. We don't want to stand up for our opinion. Like I used to live like that a great part of my life. And so I love that you're really strong and willing to face conflicts, because either they build walls if we don't face them, or they can, make us much more closer, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Two of the kleshas in yoga, one of them is avoidance and one of them is attachment. We either attach ourselves to things that we agree with and we like, and things that, or we want to push away and avoid. And it's those are both of those are attachment. Both of those are obstacles in our path of self-knowledge and self-awareness. And so I think exactly, just having that open mind and um, is really powerful to see how you can take, what the compost, right? What is compost? You put all that dirt and trash out there, and that's what grows the flowers. And that's what, gardeners use cow manure, they use crap, to grow the blooms. And so I look at it like that. I feel there's just a lot of growth opportunities.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because the crap or the whatever inside of us, maybe it helps to grow us, and but only when we face it, only when we deal with it, when we get in, roll up our sleeves and dive in, and really, work on it and peel back those layers and release the hurt, and then the same thing, then we can grow and bloom into this beautiful, who we are meant to be, or who we
Yeah,
can possibly be.
I love it. That's beautiful. Absolutely. And it's so fun. I think the journey of unfolding is so beautiful and so unique. Everybody has a story, and it's just so. But yeah, you get inspired by people's stories, and they help you fuel your own story. And there we go back to that interdependence. That other hearing other people's stories, being open to other ideas, other thoughts, other people's experiences. It helps fuel your own journey and your own growing and learning.
Mm. Yeah, and I love how you posted today that we are links, in each other's gold chains. And that's such a
Yeah.
beautiful image. And it's so true how we are this web. We're all interrelated in some way. And what I found is that often when somebody has a dream, like that was one of my dreams, to get women together and share that. For some, they had the dream to actually have their cause be known. And for them, it was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream come true to be here on the show, even, And so it's lovely how our dreams, we all play a part in bringing our dreams about in some way.
Yeah. One of my favorite affirmations that I've been saying for years now is everyone is a golden link in the chain of my highest good. And I can say that even when I'm feeling a little interpersonal challenge with someone, this is my link in my development. So yeah, we're all here for each other.
Mm. In whatever way that may look like, we don't always know. And that's the beauty of what you were saying earlier about yoga and being the witness, to be able to watch our emotions and knowing that when we trigger, it's about us. It's not about the other person. And, so yeah, beautiful, beautiful learning. So Sumya, tell us a little bit about your studio, what you do, and then you got some children's book coming up, and
Yeah, so my studio is an aerial fitness studio, and it's funny. I retired from boxing, and like 4 months later, I wandered into the silks class with my friend Lisa. She was going to the city that I was going to for this dance festival, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take it with you." I'd never heard of aerial silks, and it was so much fun, and it was a challenge. I love the physical exploration of my body, and so I just took 4 years. I spent 4 years traveling and just learning. And finally, I was like, I should just open a studio here. And so I did. And it's been a wonderful experience. And I had another mentor, teacher come to me and help me, my business advisor, help me open. And it's been wonderful. You know what? We have some of the things that I learned from boxing I incorporate at the studio as far as, and from yoga, as far as we have these rules that if you break them, the reward is 10 push-ups. And one of the rules is you're not allowed to use the word can't, except for there's nothing I can't do. Because it was amazing how many times people would come in the first class and they start to, I show them how to climb and they try, I can't do that. I can't, I heard it too much. Finally, I said, okay, that's a rule. Rule number one, don't use the word can't. Rephrase it in a positive way. I'm not able to do it yet. I'm having difficulty at this moment, because the truth is so many of us, we limit ourselves with that word, and that's just stops us from even trying. Well, I can't do it, so I'm not going to try. It's like, no, you might take you 100 tries, it might take you two. For me, boxing was, Barry says I was a quick study. I mean, in 2 years, I beat Christy Martin. I was already a world champion. I had fought everybody that was a lot more experienced. Some people take longer. It's not that there's one or more, either path is bad or good. It's just anybody can do it if you just persevere and have the persistence. And one of the other rules is only say positive things about yourself, because so many times I would hear the ladies or the men, I'm too fat, I'm not strong enough, my upper body's so weak. And it's like, words have power. We have got to change, think of what we say, what comes out of our mouth. This is what we have control of, what comes out of our mouth. And you literally are casting a spell on yourself when you say something like that. So I love incorporating these rules. We have a lot of laughs. One of them is also, don't compare yourself, because she's better, she's stronger, it's like we all get stuck in that boat, trying to compare ourselves. I used to compare myself. If she was prettier, I always thought, oh, everybody was prettier than me, everybody was smarter than me, everybody, and it was like so toxic to be in that stew of self-hatred, really is what that was for me. And so just learning, this whole path has been about self-love, learning to love myself and help other people just gently learn to speak more kindly to themselves. And so we teach silks class too. We'll teach you a mean, awesome aerial silks class, mean in a good way, but I've taught a lot of teachers all around Kansas City and a lot of performers. And I don't perform anymore just because I'm so busy teaching, and I find so much more joy in that. But there really is nothing you can't do. And so I'm always encouraging people, you want to write that book, You want to get a new job? You want to travel the world? What you're doing, Carolina, this is what you're dreamers and doers. I mean, you're talking to these women every day that are doing this.
Mm. And I love that you're spelling it out, because most of us, we have some thoughts, that come back to us again and again, the book, or maybe a business, or getting healthy, fit again, or maybe the relationship, some love. And often there, then the other voice comes in and talks us out of it, like you were saying, the inner critic voices. And I love how you're changing a whole culture of thinking in your studio, really helping people up level, because then it's a ripple effect. They take it home to their
Yes.
families, and to be kind, to be empowered. And yeah, that's so beautiful, Sumi. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, you know, it's no different than what you're doing, in just a different way. I think there's a lot of people that are doing what we do, but everybody has their own facet and their own platform. And it's so beautiful that we all come together and just kind of create this whirlwind of just self-love and regeneration of our psyches and our, you know,
Mm. Also, what I love is that you didn't get stuck anywhere. You just followed your intuition, or the breadcrumbs. What is next? And so then you went with the yoga and the massage, then the boxing came, then you back to yoga, then the silk comes. Like it's a beautiful journey, and you're just open to what's next and allow yourself to be guided. It sounds
yeah,
like.
yes, yeah. Really, my intuition always guides me to my highest good. That's been an affirmation I've used for years too. It really does work, and getting that quiet. That's the beautiful thing about yoga and meditation. You start quieting your mind, which is very challenging at first, because once we start meditating, we start realizing, wow, there's a lot of noise up there. A lot of voices. Whose voice is that? Whose voice? That's my parents. That's my friends. That's the church I grew up in. That's the society. And you start distilling it and really starting to hear your own voice. That still truly is a still small voice. And everybody has it. We all have access to it. I think, you hear people say women have more intuition. I think the feminine is masculine, and that's whether you're a man or a woman. But I think maybe women do more practices that are more quieting to hear that. Mostly a lot of women are practicing yoga a lot more than men. But I really think I know that we're all powerfully intuitive creatures.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful messages, so much beautiful wisdom that our listeners, our viewers can take with them. So thank you so much for sharing. So Sylvia, would you like to tell us a little bit about your book that's coming out, your children's book?
Yeah, my kids book, it's so my camps in the summer that I teach at Learning to Fly, it's called Chakra Circus. So it's the 7 habits of health, each aligned with one of the chakras. The chakras has been like a really potent path for me. um, I just love one of my teachers, Anna Dea Judith. She's got a lot of amazing resources and books. She's been like a huge teacher for me in this area. And um, so the 7 habits of health, I've written a kids book where there's an animal that represents each habit of health, and they're teaching kids in a circus setting. So the circus, is learning is always done better in play and fun. We learn through play and fun better sometimes. And so it's just, I'm really excited because this has been a vision for 8 or 9 years. I've been working on it, putting it away, working on it a little bit, putting it away. Life comes in, and it's amazing how long it takes to write a children's book, which is not that long. It's less than, 1,700 words.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine writing another book. It was like a big book, but they say that children's books are some of the hardest because the words, and I've been to conferences and learning and all kinds of stuff, just growing in this area. And I'm excited. I finally found the artist. And talk about intuition. You know, I've been looking for an artist, and I was standing behind this gentleman at Office Depot, and I'm looking over his shoulder, and he's got all this art spread on the counter. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I said, and I started asking him, talking to him about his work. And I said, can you draw a fox? And he's like, oh yeah. And I went, can you draw a bear? Yeah. And I started listing my animals. I go, can you draw a squirrel? And he goes, I can draw anything. He goes, I've been drawing longer than you've been alive.
Oh,
And he gave me his card and we started talking and it just started coming from there. And so that was, again, I just have always known I was going to meet him or her. I knew I was going to find him. And I just trusted it and it happened.
so that's another really great point in dream building is about the trust. We're holding the image of what we would love and then trusting in divine timing, and just relaxing and allowing it to unfold, because sometimes we are so keen and we are pushing and striving, and that kind of creates resistance and it doesn't work.
Carolina, you are so good at listening to what somebody says and then rephrasing it in another really beautiful way for people. For me, that's really beautiful that you have that gift, because a lot of times when you're interviewed, they go, oh, that's really great. Next question. But I love the way you circle back and summarize. That's beautiful. I'm gonna remember that. I can't wait to hear more of your interviews.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I can learn a lot from you. I can tell as being an interviewer.
That's amazing, because when I started, I felt totally like out of my comfort zone. I went like, who am I to do this? The whole
Oh,
thing. But I thought, no, that's it. I'm gonna do it for the other people, and yeah.
you're
So thank you,
amazing.
thank you.
You're amazing.
It means a lot. Uh-huh. And so, Sumia, also you got a life coaching program, Louise Hayes teachings, which are all about self-love, self-compassion, forgiveness. Do you want to share a little bit? Are they online,
Yeah,
offline?
sure. Thank you. Yeah, I went through the training with Patricia Crane, who studied with Louise Hay. I did get to meet Louise Hay, but she is such a powerful woman. Her books, her resources, her whole message of her life, as you said, self-love. And I went through the training, so I mixed a little bit of the Louise Hay psychology with the psychology of the chakras, and I find that that's really powerful because these chakras really, or chakra is how you actually say it. They really speak to me, and that each center is a potential of power, and or a way of expressing psychic energy, and it's really easy to see where people get stuck when I have this seven path to look at, and I've seen myself where I'm stuck. And so it's fun working with people, and I love it. I do Zoom calls as well if people want. I love the personal with people a lot more than I love the Zoom and calling. And but we're living in a time when we have to be open to change and be receptive to all that. So I am, but it's been fun. Yeah.
Okay, and so what could people do online with you? I mean, obviously the silks, aerials, things won't work, but do you offer yoga classes?
Yes, I have 3 yoga classes on Zoom, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:30 Central Standard Time. And it's $10, $100 for a package of, no, it's $90 for a package of 10, or $10 a class. And I love teaching yoga. I love teaching the asana is just one small part of yoga, but this whole psyche building and strengthening is, we do through meditation. And and I've been blessed by so many amazing yoga teachers. I've had 2 teachers recently just have passed. My first yoga teacher that taught me Bikram yoga, Patricia Gray, she was a profound teacher and speaker. She was a poet. She was amazing. And my teacher, my spiritual mother, Rama Joy T. Vernon, she passed away in November. So that really rocked me this past year.
I'm
These
sorry.
two women that have really taught me that yoga is so much more than your poses and your breath. It's yoga is it is conflict resolution. It is facing those conflicts. My teacher Rama, she travels to the most war-torn areas of the world. Before she died, she was going to Palestine teaching yoga to the Palestinians. and she was traveled to Soviet Union over 100 trips during the Cold War, and she brought these citizen diplomats to help that were yogis. She taught yoga, but she couldn't call it yoga then because she was afraid that they would not want, not accept it. But the teachings from the Yoga Sutra are the teaching of conflict resolution, conflict within our own psyche, conflict with other people. So Bhavani Maki, my teacher in Hawaii, she does an amazing job. She's got a book. Also, Ramajoy T. Vernon and Bhavani Maki both have books out. I highly encourage people to get those books. Um, just great resources and how to navigate these tumultuous times, with the conflicts that we're seeing, and how to really be a yogi. That's what I feel like now. I feel like for many years I was just doing it on the mat, but now I realize that yoga is every relationship, every conflict, everything. Yoga is my life. It's life.
It's like every moment. What were we choosing? Are we in alignment with our true self, or are we? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so inspiring. Thank you for sharing about your
Thank
teachers.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, is there anything else you want to leave our viewers with? I mean, you've offered us so much of your wisdom, and what an amazing journey, and so inspiring. And yeah, is there anything else, or how can people get in touch with you? I put it
Oh,
in the notes as well, but if you just want to say your
sure. Thank you. Yeah, my email, my website, sumya.com, sumaya.com. That's my personal website. My business website.
yeah, I've been mispronouncing your name the whole time.
You know what? It's okay. I had teachers all through college call me Somalia. I like the differences that people say my name, so it's okay.
Okay, oh,
I loved it. No, I loved it. I thought it was so beautiful. Like, oh, so yeah. So it's sumya.com or my Learning to Fly business website page. I am learning to the number two fly.com, and that freedom of flying. I think flying free of limitations. I think is so powerful. I also have Learning to Fly Facebook page and my personal page, but I do want to leave the viewers with one last thing. It just came to me, this quote that's so beautiful from Rumi that I've always spoken to me. And it was from I don't even know what poem it's from, but he said, "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" And that, why do you stay in the prison of your mind, of your can'ts, of I'm not good enough? Why do we stay in that prison here when the door of potential, the universe's door is wide open for all of us to be receptive and to receive the abundance that we all deserve. But we have to, we opening the portals of our mind. It's free
that's
yourself.
that is so perfect and so beautiful to bring this in for landing. And so, Sumaya, I want to thank you so much for being here and yeah, spreading your light with our viewers. And so, yeah, so to our viewers, if you're dreaming about something, whatever that may be, what would it take to turn you from a dreamer into a doer? And so this is my passion, my purpose, to help you realizing your dreams. And so I've actually have a masterclass on this coming up Saturday, The Power of Vision, and it's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And it's a great class, online, free, 60 minutes. You're leaving with great tools, motivated, and just more in touch with what's seeking to emerge for you and your life. And so, just as Sumaya said, yes, you can. Whatever it is, yes, you can have it, you can live it, you can be it. And so, send me an email and I'll send you the link. It's all in the notes. And also, please share these interviews. They're so inspiring. And yeah, we want to inspire more ladies to not just dream quietly in the closet, but to dream and to do and show up fully in their lives. So thank you again, Sumaya. So it was so
Thank you,
wonderful
Karoline.
And thank you to all our listeners and viewers. Lots of love.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let me